Hope you had a great spring break. And I think some of you still are. There's just a few of us tonight, but uh, the next 2 weeks assignment will be very important. So I um, spend more time on this, and yeah, I'm actually calling from Orlando. I'm in the HIMSS conference, so I won't be able to share my camera. I'm using I'm using Wi-Fi. That's that can be pretty slow. Um, I want to check if is are you are you hearing me well? Can someone just chat? Okay. Thank you, Rasil. All right. So welcome back to the spring break. Um, I also did a bit of a mistake with the mapping file, as I've mentioned in one of the announcements. That's why we will have like I will move the submission of that assignment for next week. Okay, and that just properly aligns with our schedule. Let me just check. So our assignment for uh, the last preparation of the data set. So sorry, will be supposed to be due. Yeah, next. Okay, it's due next week. Okay, and then this assignment, because we will spend 2 weeks on this, will be due the week after that. So the 26th. Okay, it will give you enough time. Okay, so we're um, doing part 2 of the race neutral model today, and because of changes for the mapping file, right? That means that the project topics are all sertraline. Okay, so Jenny, Lemis, Mona, and Joshua, you're doing sertraline. So before one was cetraline without an R here, that way, okay, but that's incorrect. So all of you guys are doing sertraline, and you just need to go to all of us, right? Just need to go to all of us, and in the announcement that I sent out, here, let's go to announcements. Okay, there is this file. You click on that. Okay, so this is a corrected mapping file. Okay, and then you just download this. So go to file, and then save as. Okay, download a copy. But when you download a copy of this, it will by default be saved as an XLSX. So if you don't have this option to download as a CSV, which I am doing right now, okay, download it as an Excel first, and then convert the Excel file into a CSV. Okay, before you re-upload into your notebook. Okay, so you go to your notebook, and by the way, all of us change. Right? They don't now have both Jupyter Notebook for Python file for Python coding and RStudio for R coding. Okay, so that's great. Now go to 464, your code, and then just rerun everything. Okay, sorry, re-upload the file. Sorry, and then just rerun everything. So how do we re-upload? It will take a while. Okay, so it's taking a while. Let me just try to push that. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's taking a while. Um, but yeah, when it loads up, you should be able to like re-upload it, but it's not happening for me. I have enough credits. Okay, I'll just move on. I will, and when it loads, then let's do that later. Okay, spent enough time on that. So last week we started to find out how the race-neutral AI model's brain works, right? So we use a logistic regression model with intercepts and with coefficients for each of the different parameters that affect remission for antidepressants. And we started creating a mapping file to map whether that data is available in our data set that we have, or if it's not available. And the most critical part is if it's not available, what's our plan to make it available? Okay. So the 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 teach one of Jocelyn teaches you that for mirtazapine, and then I also teach that for amitriptyline. Okay, and then the next teach ones will also do that for their own topics. So we will have uh, a lot of examples. Okay, and I would suggest that you do this as a team. Okay, this is a huge effort for some of you, particularly someone the one who's in charge of citalopram, and I think sertraline is also huge. Um, So try to team up, do it together. I will show you some tips later why it's better to do it together. You can really help each other finish this. Okay. Okay. So our agenda for today is continue with the race neutral AI model mapping. Okay. And then just like um, our other sessions, we break into labs, try to do the assignments, and then we rate the teach ones and prepare the teach ones for the next class. I think that the for the next class are Macy and Sadaf. Okay, so you will stay with me later. Okay, so let's move on and let me just check if it's loaded. Okay, so I will just do a little diversion. Okay, to teach you guys how to rerun. So when you're in your notebook, click on open. So you will be in your file space. Find where you uploaded the old mapping file. And it's this one. So unique AD group. So sorry, unique AD group.csv. So the first thing that you need to do is delete it. So select it and delete it. And then click upload. I won't do that because I don't want to delete it. But click upload and then upload the new file. Okay, upload the new file. Again, I won't do that because I already did it. Okay, when you um, click upload and then you just click upload here. Last time, again, I won't do that. And then just rerun all the codes, and that will fix everything. Okay. All right. So let's go to the mapping. I actually did this work already for everything since the last time we met. So I have all of the antidepressants map. So I will use this to check your work, right? I will just create a tool just to check how accurate your work is versus mine. But actually, the checking goes both ways. I also want my work to be checked. So if so, roughly, if you're like 95% correct for the things that I got correct, then you get the full points. Okay. If not, then I will just um, I will just like adjust it. Okay, and then of course give you feedback on what you got wrong. But why I did this because for the next few when we do the next codes, I want us to have uniform data. That's why I have this reference data set. We will use this instead of the things that you worked on. But I want you to work on it because this is an important part of data analysis. It's the non-sexy part of it, right? The non-coding part, understanding it. Hello, who sent a new message? Let me just go back. That's a good question. Your question is correct because it's a good question. If you didn't select sertraline, rerunning the code and re-uploading will not affect you, right? Uh, yeah, it's just I'm just like I want everyone to be like in sync, but it won't affect you because we will be working on our own files moving forward, right? Yeah. So you can choose not to do that checking. Yeah. So uh, if you want to like make this like a reference, um, then just rerun it. But it's not required for those who did not select sertraline. Thank you for your question. You are spot on. no need for those who did not select sertraline, but it is a must if you select either sertraline or sertraline, okay? Because now all of you guys are doing sertraline, okay? Okay, and then optional for the others. So let's go to the reference file. Now, I lectured last week, and um, what Jocelyn covered most of the stuff that we need to do. It's just a lot of um, like manual analysis work, right? So not all data analysis are automated, unfortunately. And some of the more important data analysis work are manual, just like what we're doing. Okay, so this is the brain of the AI, and we're trying to see how to feed data into the AI brain. Okay, and usually, if you buy an AI model, you don't have to do this. Uh, but if you're doing like research, it'll be this way. It'll exist somewhere, but they didn't give you the code. So you only have the results, you only have the data, and you have to recreate the data. Okay. So what you have to do is I've created, or I will show you some of the things that are uh, special cases that you need to be able to handle when you're doing your own thing, right? Uh, so one of the special cases uh, that Jocelyn um, did not include, she's lucky, right? A lot of you will not be. Okay, is that um, she doesn't have a DXI, right? So in the CHC group, diagnosis is either DXI. Okay, DXI means inpatient diagnosis, so DX inpatient diagnosis inpatient. DXO means diagnosis for an outpatient encounter. Okay, so there will just be a few DXI present. So what I wanted to change from my last instruction was that for DXO, let's retain it as DX underscore the data column from the last instruction of Jocelyn. But if you have a DXI, then just put it as a DXI. Okay. So DX will be plain DX will just be an outpatient, and the DXI will be specifically an inpatient diagnosis. Okay. Another neat trick that I would like to mention to you is that most often than not, for diagnosis, so DXI, and DXO, because they're following ICD-9, they follow a certain format. So the format is three characters. The three characters or three numbers, and followed by a period, and then a fourth character and a fifth character. So if there's just three characters, just like this, 311, then it's just follow the first three characters. The code will always be just 311 here, just the first three characters. But if the code has more than three characters, like this one, 272, and then the code on column E is 2. Okay? The code, more often than not, will be the first three characters, 272, followed by a period, and then the fourth character. For the fifth character, for 5-character codes, right, it will be the first three characters, and then and then the last, the fourth, and the fifth character. Okay, that is important because sometimes this description will not exactly match what is in all of us. So you have to make an intelligent decision that if the code exactly matches, then and that's it, right? Then it's just like um, a typing, maybe a typing difference, right? Or but the code will always be on the code is an exact match on the code. And then um, this is a general thing, a generally um, a generally uh, acceptable rule, except for when column I for a DX or a DI for a diagnosis only has two characters. So there's one. And that's it goes to Lucky Sertraline. Okay. Sertraline 79 79, and then the code is 7999. Okay. If you just type 79.99 or 799.9 match, you have to make this column I three characters by providing a leading zero. So it would be 079. So that's the first three characters. And then dot 99. And then you will have an exam. And then, for example, for example, that's why group work is, I think, really cool in this case. For example, I have already mapped this for amitriptyline 311, right? 311. Now, if I have a group mate who also has 311, and he or she, right? Let's see. Oh, 311 is also being used by citalopram, by venlafaxine, by duloxetine, citalopram, etc. Right? So you can just copy, right? Or you can validate their group-based work, right? So working on this on groups will save you a lot of time, especially if your group mate is doing citalopram, okay? Because it has a lot. It has a lot. That's why I'm giving you 2 weeks on this. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing I want you to tackle right now. Um, for procedures, right? Procedures are following CPT4, DX are following CPT4. So the pattern that I found out when I was doing this is just really just type in the five character code, the fact, and you will get an exact match, right? If you had a problem with having an exact match for the procedure. Okay, so for procedures, for diagnosis, not an exact match. I always have an exact match, so we're good. Okay, the beast that we have to contend with is really RX um, medication. Okay, so an example that was not that did not happen for just this one. So amitriptyline HCl. So I think there are some pharmacists here. I forgot. Let me just look into your names very quickly. I talked to one of you as a pharmacist. So ICRA, yeah, I think ICRA doing pharmacy, yeah, if you want to, uh, so so she will be really probably a good teammate to have, especially if your topic, if your antidepressant has a lot of medications, like not a problem for amitriptyline, but it might be a problem, I don't know, for sertraline. Um, uh, so we are very much um, we are only interested in the active ingredient for this particular research. Okay, so for example, amitriptyline HCl, right? If you type that in all of us, which I'll do just to show you. Okay. So go to drug exposures. Okay, and then I'll put amitriptyline HCl. Oh, this is a bad example. Okay, so sometimes there will not be a match. Oxycodone, maybe perfect. Okay, so we are um, very much only interested in the active ingredient. So if you delete HCl, you will find it. The active ingredient is oxycodone. So your code should just be 7804. Okay. And you don't have to put in HCl. It's not an active ingredient for that particular drug. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, Ikra, or if you have any other like inputs, okay, or any other pharmacist here. Okay. Another thing is there might be that there are two active uh, components of a medication. So hydrocodone and acetaminophen, right? Sometimes when you put that in, there will be a result. Oftentimes there won't. So you have to put hydrocodone, hydrocodone, and then that's 5489, and then put okay, and then the other one, right? Acetaminophen. Okay, acetaminophen is one. So 5489 and 161. Then for our data column, it will be just Rx underscore the first active ingredient underscore the second active ingredient. Okay. I don't know if there were instances where there are three active ingredients, but sometimes when you have that. Okay. So again, this guy, there, this hydrocodone, which is 05933, 05933 may be done by available for other drugs, right? So if it's available, then you can just copy an existing um, file. Okay, so the reference file is available, but the file that you can download um, from from your Blackboard only has amitriptyline filled in, and I took the liberty to copy everything in, okay, for amitriptyline. And then you just have to submit your file with your own medication, with your own antidepressant filled in. Okay. And what are the some other okay. And I want to filter by color. Okay. there will be times when there's no match. Okay, so I'm still okay. So for these guys, citalopram, duloxetine, S-citalopram, this is we won't do this. The less common combinations. It's not part of your project, but sertraline, duloxetine, and paroxetine. Okay, you will find these things phenol fenofibrate micronized, and needles insulin disposable, and they will not have any results in all of us. Okay. Uh, the thing is, fenofibrate, um, for fenofibrate, I could have just used the active ingredient for fenofibrate, but there's already like just base fenofibrate as part of a generic code somewhere. Okay, so let's just go to citalopram first. And sorry, to maybe the less common one is a better example. Okay, this one, and then scroll down. See, so there's already a fenofibrate there, which you can easily find into from all of us. These guys uh, are were specifically uh, like sorted out of or of fenofibrate, or like identified, right? Identified that's unique from just the base fenofibrate. So we cannot just like assume that it's a. So do not just yet answer this, right? I'm still validating this with the research team doing this, who did this AI model. If I can just use 8703. Okay. Same thing for insulin. Insulin and all. Mhm. Yeah, I think search is not doing good here. So insulin, I think, also has just a base insulin. So we cannot just assume that insulin and insulin needles are the same. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. I know now why it's not working. So yeah. Okay. So there's insulin lispro, right? And then insulin needles. Okay. I'm clarifying um, with research team that insulin needles is just the same as insulin. Okay. So for the duloxetine, paroxetine, wait for me just by next week. It's easy. It's just one line. I'll give you the answer. Don't worry about it. And then also for um, fenofibrate, I'll just give you the answer. And so, yeah. And so that's it for our lecture today. Okay, I'll stop recording now.